This presentation is about the Shared Reference Point tool from Autodesk, also known as the BIM Coordinator, previously released on the Labs website. So what should I install? There is two installers. It supports both 2013 and 2014 releases of both Civil 3D and Revit. For Civil 3D, you install an installer from the subscription website. This will add an extra item to your reports manager in the tool space. For Autodesk Revit, the installer will add an item within the add-ins tab. The workflow I'm about to give comes from an initial plan of a site with a supermarket where we've started the model in InfraWorks. We then want to take this data and pass that through to Revit so they can build out the detailed design of the supermarket. Want to collaborate the data back to AutoCAD Civil 3D to start working up the detailed civil engineering site proposal. We also want to keep the model in InfraWorks updated and add the more detailed Revit model. And as we've completed the civil detailed design, we want to update any changes in Revit in terms of height and then aggregate the final BIM project in Navisworks. So here in InfraWorks we have the proposed site laid out. We've got an access road and a coverage area which will be the site in question and the parking. We're going to bring through a massing model. Now this is in the form of an FBX, which could come from Revit or any other form of 3D model at this point. We treat the massing model as a building and we're going to place this interactive as we're going to work out where this building takes its position best on the site. So we'll position it here on the site itself, and then once that's placed we can understand the gradients of the existing ground that we have. As you can see, we're going to need some form of regrading or retaining walls to position this building in this location. Moving over to Civil 3D, we can connect to the same source of data through SQLite. And we can choose what items we want to view, so buildings, roads, and we'll also choose water in this case. So this is the same data that is built inside InfraWorks, but we're just viewing it in a more typical GIS kind of view. So there's our new building in its position. So in Civil 3D we'll go to tool space here and to the toolbox to where this shared reference tool is located. So here we're going to export the reference points to be used within Revit. So now we pick two known points on the building and they should be in the same plane because that's how Revit works. So we see we've got X, Y and Z and also the units that we're working in. So we give it a name of what the shared reference system will be called, and it's a small XML file which can be shared with others. Now in Revit, through the add-ins, we need to pick the same 2 points on the building that we chose before, so it's important which way around you've chosen these points. Select the file. And this sets up the shared coordinate system inside Revit, as you can see. Go to now the Manage tab and Location. And under the Site tab, we set this as the current shared points. And see, the orientation is project north, which is typical for using Revit, but as we orientate to true north, we get the accurate rotation and location represented. So we could export this in its 2D form as a CAD drawing, or we could also, if we flip to a 3D view, we can opt to take the 3D model through to a DWG as well. So depending on what your use is going to be, this is how you can share the file in its different view. Important here is to click on the setup. If you're doing 3D model, you want to choose ACES solids, and of course your units, and importantly the shared coordinate system. We're saving this as a DWG now. So back in Civil 3D now, or any AutoCAD version here, if we take the DWG that we just created, and here we just choose 0, 0, 0, all the rotations as they are, and you'll find that your 2D plan or 3D model here will land in the exact location as we see here. So back in Revit here, what we also want to do is take this through to Navisworks. Another use here is if we want to update the model in InfraWorks, the best method to take this model in the right position is through Navisworks itself. So we're exporting here an NWC file, so it's one way of giving a lockdown version of your 3D model from Revit. So here in Navisworks we have the same model now from Revit, and at just this point here we're going to export to an FBX file, so just treating it purely as a 3D model, just ensuring the units are set correctly for what we're working in. Embed the textures. And we get an FBX file. So here in InfraWorks we're going to create a new proposal for this more detailed version of the supermarket model. So we're going to remove this existing mass model that we chose to start with. And we'll just choose to add this FBX now, which came from Navisworks. So Navisworks holds the geolocation of where the model was positioned. So we're going to treat it again as a building, and we'll give it the location 0, 0, 0, just like what we do in AutoCAD. So we close and refresh. And we'll find we get our 3D building all positioned now in InfraWorks, and giving us a higher level of visualization for how this site planning preparation is going. So we need to look at this ground model now to work the site, to make it all work in terms of drainage and ground. So in Civil 3D we've done the design here, we've done some earthworks, retaining wall features. The general site has been just developed to a higher level of detail with car parking areas, some mini roundabouts, other kind of intersection junction type work. So we may have made some changes here, done some optimization with Civil 3D for earthworks, just to calculate cut and fill. So here we've actually changed the height of the building to 53 meters now. So again, we can update the position also within Revit by updating the XML file, either update the same file, or in this case just give it a new name. We re-click the two known points that we've chosen, choose the updated XML file, and again we can go through the export process for all the output files that we've used. And in Navisworks, at the end of the project design, we pull all the information together and it all works as expected.